okay, Glenorchy challenged early in the day, but you came through for an enormous performance.
Yeah, it was enormous from the guys. You know, when you go down a rotation very early in the game, and that guy who goes down is Jay Bowden, you know, one of the all-time greats. And then, you know, a lot of other guys missing too. You know, Mike Grant, Webster, Matty Joseph, Clinton French, you know, some really experienced and talented players. And so as a coach, you know, for a really young group to dig deep, it was 8 goals to 2, I think, and we kicked 11 goals to 2 after that point. And that just shows a lot of character from the guys, and they had to, you know, Launceston didn't sort of let us have anything easy. It was a very contested game, and so we had, probably from midway through that second quarter, we turned the screws for 2.5 quarters of footy, and that's not easy to do. And then just the character of the guys to run out the last quarter like that was super. And our Mercury Cup team did the same thing, and the guys have a lot of belief in their ability to run games out. You know, we sort of joked with them afterwards. We used to train till after 8 o'clock during pre-season, and none of them really liked it, but there was a reason, and it's instilled that belief. But it wasn't just the fitness, it was the heart as well. It was you know, it's just one final, we've got more work to do, but for a brief minute you just sort of reflect on how good a win that was, and you don't get too many better than that.
Yeah. There were patches in the first half that we were very competitive, but it was really sort of, I guess, after three-quarter time we translated that into actually the floodgates opening on the scoreboard. What helped you guys do that and sort of really challenge them?
Yeah, look, I thought our first 15 minutes were really good. I think we'd kicked 1 goal 3 at that point. And, you know, we'd really been on top. And then Jay goes down, and you know, the game swung, and there was probably a bit of a psychological thing there with Jay goes down. You know, at the same time, just after that, the headsets in the box died. So we're trying to adjust, and we've got no communication. So, you know, there was a little bit of chaos there for a little while. And so, yeah, it was midway through the second quarter where we just changed the mindset we wanted to play with. We went to a certain type of football. And again, it's not easy to do against a midfield as good as Launceston's. And the guys did a really good job, and they got those last 2 goals of the second quarter, which really gave us belief, put us in a good spot. I thought the third quarter, you know, we missed some opportunities, but again, they hung tough, the guys, and at three-quarter time, I think it was 19 points the difference. I just said, who believes? And you could tell they all did, but it didn't come easy. But their ability, a rotation down, and at times during the game we were 2 rotations down, but to keep applying the level of pressure we did was exceptional. And yeah, like I said, it's all it's done is earned us the right to play in the second semi next week. But you take playing for a spot in the grand final. Obviously a really tough opponent, North Launceston, and we respect them very highly. Glenorchy and North Launceston have had some great battles in recent years, so we can't afford to have the lapse we did today. We will get some handy players back, but really today wasn't one on talent, it was one on work rate and effort and heart, and so that gives us some confidence going into next week.
Yeah. In the second half, especially as the game wore on, you were able to set up a lot better behind the ball, both with and without it. Was that something that you thought Lonnie let you set up, or it was really hard to get those structures up and running for the last quarter when they paid off?
Oh, look, I thought in that period, I thought in that period from midway through the first to midway through the second, you know, their mids were generating drive. And when we went forward, we weren't locking the ball in well. It was coming in and out. The same thing happened in the third quarter last week. So I think what changed was our mids started getting on top, and we're a little bit smarter with taking territory, and then our forwards, you know, being a number down, did a really good job of locking the ball in and owning territory, and then that allowed the backs to set up behind. So it was really, again, effort, endeavour, hardness at the contest, willingness to pressure and force turnovers, and then just being smart and understanding what finals footy's about, and playing the right way, not trying to play pretty footy in the moment. So that helped us turn it around, and eventually, you know, the sort of dam wall breaks, and that Lonnie's defence and their mids were under pressure for so long that eventually we were able to crack them.
Yeah, you mentioned your forward group. They really stood up in the last quarter. Their pressure was fantastic. A lot of big marks. I think Adam Roberts had 4 big marks inside 50 in the last quarter. That was one of the things that really helped you guys set up that victory.
Yeah, some really young guys like Roberts, Brodie Rowbottom, Connor Salter, Bailey Bester. That group hadn't played too many senior games before this year. Will Atkin was another one. Just really pleased with their effort. And I think it goes to show, like obviously Launceston have an incredibly talented team, but there's so much more to Aussie rules footy than just talent. So we'll take that into next week. We come up against a team that has good talent, but also great discipline, very consistent with the way they play, very hard physically. So they're a big challenge and we look forward to it.
Yeah, do you feel like you learned anything from last week's contest? They sort of followed a similar script in that they go away and then you came to them hard in the last quarter, but obviously this week you got the win as well.
Yeah, obviously the last quarter last week gave us a lot of confidence, coming from 7 goals down, and had we converted a little better in the last quarter we might have pinched it. And we did learn some things structurally which we're able to put into place today, but when you lose Jay Bowden early in the game, some of your plans go out the window. So that did help. It was a good thing playing them last week. That definitely helped us this week, and now we refocus and on to North Lonnie.
Sam, your thoughts on the contest, mate? Pretty quick start from your voice, but obviously disappointing to let that lead slip.
Yeah, certainly. I thought our first half was fantastic, and we controlled most of the first half, and second half was chalk and cheese. So, we had 7 shots on goal, and then finished the last quarter with 0 goals, 7 points, and obviously it was run over the top of.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 0-7 in that last quarter. It would have been pretty disappointing not to capitalise on the opportunities you did have to put it away.
Yeah, certainly. I thought there was at least a couple out of the 7 that we should have finished. And credit to Glenorchy, their pressure around the footy obviously made our guys. There was enough pressure to keep them or get them off balance and go from there. So it was a hard fought out game, and credit to Glenorchy to run over at the end of that.
Yeah, your thoughts? Just early in the game, you were definitely able to get at their defence with speed, and there was a lot of run and carry from your boys. But as the contest wore on, that really dropped off. Was that sort of a fatigue thing? Was it just perhaps with the lead letting perhaps a few boys switch their minds off?
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones when sometimes you see one mistake, it grows into 2 and 3, and if it grows into 2 and 3, then fear of failure steps in, and then the players really take a backward step of what's got them in that position in the first place. So from our perspective, I think it was more of a case of fear of failure, which then restricted the way we wanted to move the ball and become a bit more predictable with the way we moved it. So Glenorchy got opportunity to set their defence up, and Glenorchy a rebound defensive side. So we didn't shift the ball, and we didn't keep their defence counting, which played it on their terms, and they were able to capitalise from the back half.
Yeah, obviously you played each other twice in a row. Did you feel like last week's contest had much of an impact on this week's? Did they learn a few things? Obviously you didn't show everything last week, but did they pick up on a few things? Because they've both followed a similar pattern that you've got away and then they've pulled it back. It's just they finished the job this time.
Yeah, to be honest, it's the 3rd game we've seen like that. Early in the season, it was Windsor Park and won by a point. So what we knew at half time was they were going to continue to keep coming at us, and I thought I prepped our guys for that during the week and even today. And obviously I hadn't done that job properly, and they were overwhelmed at a particular point in the second half that they couldn't stop the run of the rugby.
Obviously, we're pretty interested in the second game going on here at Blundstone today. You'll be at home, but you'll play the winner of this game, Clarence and Lauderdale.
Yeah, certainly. What we've seen today was what I believe is a genuine 2nd and 3rd place side. So both sides have got the second chance for a particular reason, and we've got now 7 days to get our minds back on the job and move forward, and carry out next week as we would any other week during the season, and make sure that our system is stable and the players understand that what next week looks like, and we go out there and do a good job.